Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm diving into a build that's been a long time coming. An Intel system I've been meaning to put together for about 8 months now. Why? Because that's when I picked up this B760M DDR5 motherboard during Black Friday and I've been itching to make something great with it. Let's start with the motherboard itself. For the price, even outside of deals, this thing is packed with features. The only real omission is front panel USB Type-C, but honestly, that's a minor inconvenience. An adapter solves that issue in no time. For memory, I'm running a 32GB Corsair Vengeance kit. It's not the absolute fastest out there, but since this is an Intel system, thankfully memory frequency is less crucial, so I don't really expect any bottleneck to gaming performance. And after a bit of tweaking, I got it to 6400 Mbps at CL36, running beautifully. Now onto the CPU, housed in the most unmissable bright pink case you've ever seen. This chip is a brand new Core i5 14600KF with 14 cores, 6 performance and 8 efficiency. It's interesting to see Intel pushing forward with the efficiency cores while ARM moves away from them. Regardless, this thing is an absolute beast at juggling games and background tasks. The only real downside? Well, it's a power hungry chip, but don't worry, we'll take care of that later. For storage, I've gone with the 1TB TAC NVMe drive, fully PCIe 4.0 compliant. It's really fast, and from everything I've read, its endurance is excellent, so really there's nothing to complain about here. Oh, and before I forget, I also chucked in a 2TB drive somewhere in there. Now onto the case. Today's build goes into a white Antec chassis, where I pre-installed Corsair Capellix H100i Elite AIO. Given that the CPU generates serious heat, a solid cooling setup is obviously necessary. And now here's why I chose a full tower case despite using a micro RTX motherboard. This monster of a 3080 Ti Gaming X Trio. This thing is practically a 3090 with 12GB of RAM, performing much closer to its big sibling rather than a standard 3080. Plus, the massive support bracket conveniently hides the bottom of the case when viewed from a normal angle. Definitely a nice visual bonus. Looking at it now, the black and white theme just works. I get it won't be everyone's cup of tea, but the transition from white front fans to all black components towards the back really gives this a seamless, polished look, and honestly, it makes me happy. One final note, the system is powered by a brand new RM750 PSU, and all fans are controlled via IQ. Yeah, I know, I usually critique the software, but in this case, the Corsair Commander that came with the AIO feels far more refined than the built-in case fan controller. Plus, it eliminates the need for extra splitter cables had I gone straight into the motherboard. In heaven, once I started recording, I thought instantly that something was seriously off. FPS was locked at 160 and GPU usage hovered at just 70%. Turns out G-Sync had auto-enabled on my new 1440p monitor. Once I disabled it, frame rate shot up to an impressive 265 FPS on average and GPU utilization hit full stride. I know I should probably retire Heaven as a benchmark, but honestly it's still ridiculously useful in situations like this. Running 3D Mark Speedway confirmed that everything was working perfectly. Performance took a slight hit due to the simultaneous internal recording, but overall the system held strong. In Rocket League, the FPS remained comfortably above 500, with barely noticeable dip, not exactly a stress test, but more of a flex. This PC effortlessly dominates esport titles. And to drive that point home, Fortnite actually outperformed my expectations. I figured it would hover around 100 FPS, but instead it easily pushed past 120 FPS with every setting maxed out. And listen, if you're playing on performance mode in Fortnite, well, we simply can't be friends. Black Myth Wukong is one of the two games that might actually push the 3080 Ti in 2025. I stuck with recommended settings and got just over 60 FPS, of course with ray tracing enabled. I mean, sure, you could crank it up to cinematic with ultra ray tracing, but let's be real, that brings even my 5090 to its knees. Horizon Forbidden West looks stunning and runs smooth at around 100 FPS. No ray tracing here, but one of the best looking recent titles. Still, I think there's a bit more room for optimization. Hopefully the game will follow in the footsteps of its predecessor Horizon Zero Dawn and continuously improve over a long period of time. Assassin's Creed Shadow, which I believe is the second most demanding game in my benchmark roster, had everything turned up to its maximum settings, which really isn't a smart idea. The result, 47 FPS at ultra high while recording. However, if you're not streaming, the game plays fine at the settings. Dialing things back slightly would easily push it to over 100 FPS with barely noticeable visual downgrades. For Far Cry 6, I decided to ditch FSR. This PC doesn't need it. At ultra settings, I hit 127 FPS without recording and 118 FPS while recording. Based on my experience, FSR 1.0 should only be used if you're running on RTX 2060 or 3050 and have no other choice, because the artifacts are a bit too distracting. This scene in Dragon Age The Veilguard is the ultimate stress test. If this PC can break 60 FPS here, then the rest of the game will be a breeze. Well, this build absolutely delivered. For proper context, around the lighthouse, FPS hovered around 150, making for a superb gaming experience. Again in Cyberpunk 2077, I maxed out everything except path tracing, and we hit a massive 88 FPS on average, and 80 while recording. This is actually the second best result I've ever had on this channel, beating the 4070 and only training a 4080 Super, which cost nearly 3 times as much. If that's not a huge win, then I don't know what is. And on that note, this video is complete. It's been a blast testing it out, and honestly I couldn't be happier with the results. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments. And see you in the next one.